There it is. There it is. So are they planning to roll out machines soon? Do they have a waiting list of potential customers that need their services?
So great question, right? So one of the things that so yes and yes is the answer. There's the short answer to that, and the little bit longer answer to that is, so we've always been in contact. There's a lot of people that make 3D metal printing machines, right? So some of the big players are Stratus, 3DO, and Desktop Metal, and then you have HP, General Electric, Nikon, as well as others. Now, what I realized 2 years ago was very similar to the computer boom. At first, you had a few companies making the machines, right? And then you fast forward a few years, and a ton of people are making computers, and the actual cost of technology goes down. So before, where you need $20,000 to buy a computer, and it took up the whole room. Eventually, it got down to a few $1,000s, and now, for $100, you get the computing power you had years ago on a cell phone, right? So the cost of technology usually goes down. There's downward pressure on that, and I knew that would be the case for 3D printing, and sure enough, today, while you can still get a $1 million metal 3D printing system set up, you're starting to see competition come in from Germany. Well, Germany was the start of it, but really from Asia. China's coming in with these new machines that we think are going to be players. So a little spoiler alert for the people that are here early, and I'm sure I'll put this up either tomorrow or Friday, probably tomorrow. Roger sent the social media team a picture of him meeting with King's Manufacturing. King's Manufacturing is out of Beijing, and they're making metal 3D printing machines, and they're looking for a distributor / supplier in the United States. So we're in talks, right? And what we realize is that we might be able to get a room full of, remember, these are machines that otherwise would be $1 million setup, for each machine. But we're looking at getting a container full of those machines back to the U.S. Through some joint venture partnership with some manufacturing firm. I won't commit to who, because we don't know, and we haven't locked anything in. But we're having conversations. Like at Rapid, we had conversations with several new 3D metal printing machine manufacturers out of Asia, and we think that there's a good potential for us to bring in a whole slew of other machines. So the way we see it is, right now, if you've ever been to the warehouse in Washington, there's 3 huge rooms. I'm not really good at measuring square footage off the bat, but they're pretty damn big. You can fit in one of the rooms. You can probably fit 5 18-wheelers. Let's put it that way. So one of those rooms we have 3 rooms. 2 of them are subtractive. One of them is additive manufacturing. We're planning on switching that over, so it'll be 2 additive manufacturing. So we'll go from the 2 machines we have now. We see a room full of 3D printers in the future. So anywhere from 10 to 20 machines added to the portfolio. How we acquire those machines, we have to be strategic. We don't want to go and raise a ton of capital, right, and dump it on us, the shareholders, to solidify that cost. But if we can find a joint venture or a reseller partnership program with one of these manufacturers of these machines, we'd love it to be USA based. We haven't gotten the reciprocation we'd like from the USA based company, so we're going to keep trucking along, and we're talking to the companies in Asia. But the answer to that is absolutely. We're definitely looking at getting more machines on, John. So we appreciate the question. And yes, they can make more complicated parts. I think the follow-up question was, are complicated parts that normally would take hours by a machinist to produce, will they be more efficient, cost effective with your system? Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly the point of metal 3D printing. It's more cost effective.
Yeah, and he does have another follow-up here. Your company is basically a service, and you talked about this, that offers to operate the machines and producing parts for retail to end user customers. How will you differentiate your company from another company that is willing to do the same thing?
Great point. That's a great question, John. What do you call it? The biggest difference today is that we have a subtractive division. So most people that are doing metal 3D printing don't have the finishing, right? So they usually have to machine the part with a metal 3D printer and then take it out, and they may have to send it someone else for post, processing or finishing, or they may not be able to make the total part in house. So one of our biggest competitive advantages is that we do both, right? So that's a huge competitive advantage. And then just the engineering team that we've assembled there, that can tackle the problem, I would say that's our second competitive advantage. But first competitive advantage is that, we're doing subtractive and additive. And then, you know, second, I would say it's our, you know, executive team and our engineering team. And then if you wanted to add a third, it's the fact that we are probably, I don't know of another one. If you guys can find it, I'd love to know about it, but we're probably the only metal 3D printing service company that also has Subtractive that's publicly traded. So that's pretty cool.